Here we go. So we're going to be finding the gradients of straight lines. I'll show you how to do that, and then also I'll show you how to draw lines with a given gradient, and that given gradient will be some number. Okay? So here's some straight lines, and I want to find the gradients of those. And so to do that, I need to get 2 points and find out what their rise over run is. So we've got to remember that. Okay, we've got to remember the gradient is rise over run. And I also told you yesterday, I think, didn't I, that when we talk about run, we're going to run to the right. Okay, so we're always going to run to the right so we don't get too confused. Okay, so first up, I want to find 2 points that fall on the crosshairs, 2 points that are on the line, and I can read them. And I look at the rise and the run to get there. So in these examples, it's a one-to-one thing. There's no scale. There's no other numbers or values. So I'm just going to be counting squares where we don't always do that. So my rise here is 2, and my run is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Not a very straight run, but that's okay. So my gradient for this guy is going to be positive 2 over 5. And let's take this one right here. My rise is up 3 and over 1. So my gradient for that guy is going to be 3 over 1. If we want to write that as just 3, we can. And what about my horizontal line here? Okay, got a horizontal line. Well, you can pick any 2 points on that. So I'll just say, okay, my rise is nothing. My rise is 0. And my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and hey, here we have that tricky 0 thing where 0 divided by a number other than 0 equals 0. Okay, so horizontal line always has a gradient of 0. We need to remember that. Okay, so we got a positive gradient, 0 gradient, and then what about these guys? Since I said always run to the right, our rise is just going to be up and down. Okay? So and if our rise is down, sounds weird, rise is down, that means it's going to be a negative gradient. If I say slope gradient, same thing. So here, what do you do first, run or rise? It doesn't matter, but just remember, when you do go down here, that's going to be a negative 2, and we always run to the right. Your run should always be positive. Okay, so here I've got my rise is negative 2, my run is 2, and that simplifies to a negative 1. And this guy over here, same thing. Well, let's say I did the run first, doesn't matter. There's my run, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, run is always positive, and my rise is down 2 again. So my gradient here is rise over run, and negative 2/4 gives me negative 1/2, and all these we can write as fractions, so that's fine. Finally, vertical line. Okay, vertical line. Well, my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going down 5. But what's my run? Nothing. 0. And here's what's quite different than this guy, is that I can divide 0 by a non-zero number, but I cannot divide a non-zero number by 0. So this guy here doesn't give us a number, but what we get is division by 0 is undefined. We get no number. So a vertical line doesn't have a gradient of 0. It's just called undefined because division by 0 is a no-no. Okay, so now let's go to drawing some lines that have a given gradient. And how I want you to remember these is just negative gradients are going to be going down as we go to the right, and our run value is going to be always going to the right. So let's start with 3/4. And I'm not concerned about the y-intercept. I'm just looking at what the steepness of that line is. So I'll just pick a point anywhere, And 3/4, what that means is up 3 over 4. So go up 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's start in a different spot. Let's start over here, so I'm not in highlight land. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that tells me my second point. So I'll do that again. What you should get is we'll get something that looks like this. A gradient of up 3 over 4, 3/4. Negative 1/2. Pick a point, and I want you to be able to read what that gradient means. Negative means down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. You can do it again. Down 1 over 2, because lines have a constant gradient. Rule it up. And that's down 1 over 2. And our run will always be positive. Down 1 over 2. Lines have constant gradients. 3. What does that mean? Rise gradient of 3. Well, make it a fraction so you understand it. All right. Rise over run. 3 over 1. All right. Pick a point. That means up 3 over 1. Okay. Got that. And there's a gradient of 3. Up 3 over 1. Okay, so the same thing for a negative, for an integer, negative 2. If it's not a fraction, make it a fraction by putting it over 1. A gradient of negative 2, pick a point, means down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And grip it and rip it. And that's what it looks like of down 2 over 1. And finally, slope of 0, don't do anything. Just draw a horizontal line. Okay? And that's it.